Yeah, Pablo, thanks for coming on the podcast. You had to travel quite a lot.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Laszlo. Yeah, for the record, we have the office right in front of you, so it's I guess the most casual podcast I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, you just had to go downstairs, I guess.
Yeah.
But maybe you can introduce yourself for the call.
Sure. I'm Pablo, co-founder of Engel. We are a stablecoin protocol. So far, we developed two big stablecoins: a Euro stablecoin that is called EURA and a USD stablecoin USDA. These are decentralized stablecoins that exist across many different blockchains. The particularity of our stablecoins is that these come with native saving solutions. It's yield-bearing products. And our mission is to ensure that people using our products, and more generally, people using DeFi, are not the product. When you use USDC, you are the product because you are forfeiting away your yield on USD to Circle. And with our stablecoins, we are doing it such that people get the access to the underlying value we're generating with their assets. So when you hold with us, you are making more of your money than what you would with other conventional stablecoins you are using.
Yeah, I like this quote on what you say is you can think of Circle and Tether as democratizing the risk, but they centralize the rewards and the interest, but you're democratizing the risk and the rewards.
That's it. I mean, there is value in USDC and USDT, and it's normal that they keep some of the rewards for themselves because people, I'm ready to give away a bit on my yield just for the practicality I have when I deal with USDT. It's so easy, it's accepted among all other exchanges. But still, stablecoins are kind of becoming commodified. In the end, it's just tokenized USD. And it's normal to build systems. You don't need billions of dollars to run a stablecoins. And these are not operating at their margin. Their margins are really, really high, Circle and Tether. So there is room for systems which are more beneficial to the users. And that's the advantage, of building on blockchains. You're building on an industry which is highly composable and makes it easy for anyone to create its own primitive. And it's what we do at Engel. We try to build a primitive that is as powerful as that of USDC, but by giving away value to users. So democratizing access to the yield using the rails built by Circle or Tether.
That makes sense. And we jumped right into what you're doing and Engel and what you're offering. But so maybe before we come back to this, can you explain a little bit to us how it started, how did you meet co-founder, and how did you fall into the crypto rabbit hole?
Yeah, I'm a super conventional type of person in the sense that it's not crypto is not something I did on my free time. I got lucky enough to take two crypto classes when I was at school. I went to engineering schools in France and in the US. And I took one crypto class in France because it sounded interesting, and this shed light, created this intense desire from my side to learn more. I got fascinated, and same in the US. 1 year later, I took a class in the US, and I was like, okay, this is something which is at the intersection of everything I really liked during my studies: economics, computer science, math. And maybe if it could have been a different topic, and I didn't do it out of many people were driven in the industry because they earned they made a profit on ETH and BTC and for speculative reasons. In my side, it was more okay. This is all I really liked, so I just want to work in here. And I met my co-founders when I was still a student at Stanford University in the US. Actually, we were in school together before in France. And after this crypto class we took at Stanford, we're like, hey, there is so much to be done. It was late in 2020. DeFi was still nascent. And we're like, okay, can we build our thing here? We still hadn't demystified DeFi. Everything seems so magic. I'm landing on Compound. I'm earning interest. I didn't even realize at the time who was ready to borrow the USDC I was lending.
Yeah.
I swapped on Uniswap. I understood the math. I was like, okay, we're going to reinvent finance. This is the new way to do things. But it seemed so early, and the spectrum of what we could do was immense. And we had this class with Fred Ersam, the founder of Coinbase, which made a comparison, which was like made me want to join the space full time. He said, like, look, in the early 2000, 2010, you could be a team of 10 people and create $1 billion company. Like you could be 10 people, create Instagram, create Snapchat. Now, if you want to build a powerful social app, you need thousands of employees, like TikTok did. In crypto, you can be 4 or 5 people and create something that scales enormously because you have instant worldwide distribution, because you have scalable systems like it's the blockchain. And I was like, okay, let's do this. And didn't take us long to realize that DeFi is powerful, but the primitives were only built back in the days for US people. Like everything was denominated in dollars. And we wanted to build the tools for everyone to take advantage of DeFi without having to care about the exchange risk, like the euro, dollars. And at the time, I was earning, 5% interest on my USDC, but the dollar was crashing with respect to the euro. I was in France during COVID. It's a shame, not to have this. And so this is how we went full time into building our Euro Stablecoin to give as a starter, and then our vision is still far more global. DeFi needs to think through all audiences, like not just focused on the rich whales transacting in USDC, and give people the means to deal with the financial primitives that exist on chain without any consideration of, I'm going to lose if a USD depreciates or appreciates or whatever. You need to be thinking into your main referential. And it's what we started to do early in 2021.
So you went for the euro market first. Back then, dollars, stablecoin were overrepresented, but it still seemed to be the case. So what happened there? And you didn't manage to fix the problem, or people are not interested to get more euro stablecoin. Like what happened there, and how can this problem be fixed, and why I guess it's also important to have more euros than dollars in this ecosystem.
So it was it was a good bet if you think about it philosophically, in the sense of let's do euros, but as a company it was a bad bet to focus just on the euro. And the euro stablecoin market, the discrepancy between when we joined, when we launched, and now has barely decreased. The euro stablecoin market hasn't really taken off. With our euro stablecoin, EURA, it used to be known as AG Euro, we're still one of the biggest euro stablecoin, but still it's ridiculous if you compare it to the size of the USD stablecoin market. I think the ratio is 1 to 1,000.
That's crazy.
And why did that change? There are many different reasons, but the main one is, I'd say it's network effects are like virtuous circles. And when everyone is used to transacting in USD, well, people are launching their systems will build around USD because it's what has more liquidity, which is still going to reinforce the predominance of USD stablecoins in the market. There is also the fact that people do not really care about the exchange risk in an industry where volatility is so high. The average volatility of USD Euro on a yearly basis is 7%.
Yep. Well,
it can be the price variation of BTC or ETH in a day. So why would you care about dealing with something which is less liquid when it's like what you may earn or lose in a day?
Right.
So these are the main reasons. And the third one, but I guess it's less the case now, there was still some unclarity with respect to what would be the legal status of Euro stablecoins.
Right.
There is still a lot of unclarity when it comes to USD stablecoins. But back in the days, 2021, 2022, people didn't know how MiCA, which is the set of regulations in Europe, would look like. It kind of deterred many people from launching the Euro stablecoin. Now the way it's changed, and we see more and more people working on the launch of the Euro stablecoins. And in fact, there's no Euro stablecoins that launched, including ourselves. We tried to follow the same playbook as other USD stablecoins, meaning let's go being in DeFi, let's get listed on exchanges. And no one tried to do this with a different paradigm that could have led to new use cases in which there would not have been any competition with a USD stablecoin.
Such as what?
I don't to some extent, there was a Euro stablecoin called LUG, which was we're going to launch, we're going to be used by Casino, which is a large retail group in France and worldwide for their programs of fidelity. For many different reasons, it didn't go through. But if you start as an underdog in the industry, you don't have to start doing as others are doing. Sometimes you have to start another way, out of the box, and be smarter, or focus on something different than something where that because of network effects, liquidity issues, you will never be as competitive as the other alternatives.
Okay, so go after a niche. In that case, the non-DeFi market, where at some point they could have found liquidity. Right?
It's an example. Just to say, if we want large, for me, the play for a large Euro stablecoin to take off, well, now there may be some exchanges which are willing to accept more Euro stablecoins. So this kind of changes the set of things. But to get a massive Euro stablecoin, I would have I imagine that you need to go through one large distribution partner, which doesn't have the USDT in mind, and is just considering its own use case. And so this would be a cool way to grow the liquidity of the Euro stablecoin, and then make this Euro stablecoin credible to the eyes of DeFi, which despises Euro stablecoins. I mean, not despises, but doesn't even consider Euro stablecoins so far.
Right. So if you would think of distribution back then, you would have a different distribution, right? You were full speed into DeFi, which you seem to say they didn't care. They might still not care because of liquidity, but you would have more going to the platforms, or...
I think... I mean, it was not our culture.
Right.
Maybe we wouldn't have done, we are a team of engineers, and now it's changing, but we're focused maybe too much on the technological aspects of it, building the best protocol, and it's how we got financed in the first place.
Right.
We had a brand new way to do stablecoins, which was, by the way, not so far from what Ethina is doing right now. We just haven't been able to package it the right way. We would have put distribution more at the center. But distribution within DeFi, with respect to distribution with other partners, I think it's an error that many, all stablecoins should do. The distribution of a stablecoin today should focus more towards people which have the flow, which control crypto funds, that is to say, wallets, custodians, exchanges, rather than DeFi protocols where you'll gain 1 million, 10 million in TVL from an integration, but everything is so mercenary in DeFi, and it's easier to consolidate larger deals to grow faster, and then liquidity calls for liquidity, and it unlocks all the DeFi integrations. And
and this culture shifted in your team and in your mind.
Yeah. But I guess more globally in the industry, I don't think we've been the only ones going through this way.
Right.
We're hey, let's grow a curve pool, then let's get listed on Aave. This will bring us to millions in TVL. There are 1 million users in DeFi barely. There are 100 million users in centralized exchanges.
Yes.
This should be the way to go. Your efforts are 100x more efficient towards centralized exchanges than within DeFi. It's going to take more time. The probability of success is smaller because these guys control the users, so they can negotiate more favorable terms for them. But it's, I guess, payoffs can be higher in the end. And you may disperse yourself if you try to, I want to have a pool on this DEX, I want to go on this chain. You don't need that many integrations to grow a stablecoin. You need few of them, but really well thought and really large ones. And it's, And at the same time, when you are distributing a stablecoin protocol, you don't want to be to say no or to some opportunities of people who are like, hey, I'm going to integrate your stablecoin, but you know that at max still you will have these guys will control 100K of your stablecoin. Like you still want to speak to everyone because it's like being a VC. Like you don't know which one is going to take off, and you need to plant your seeds everywhere and it's free. Basically, distribution is free because it's like, hey, I have this innovation, I have this stablecoin. It can anyone can permissionlessly integrate it. So let's make sure that we create a safe haven where for developers it's easy to integrate it, and people are better off integrating our stablecoins than they are integrating other stablecoins.
And in that case, it's free, but they have incentives to do so, right? What are the incentives?
So it depends. It evolves through our life cycle. Right now, the incentives that we offer are twofold. So the yield, which I mentioned in introduction, people using our stablecoins get access to a yield in a super passive way that is designed to be the best of what you get in very low risk TradFi and DeFi settings, meaning that our USD yield product is called STUSD. And if, I don't know, TBL yield is higher than what you can get by lending in DeFi, then we'll provide you with the TBL yield. If DeFi lending and very low risk DeFi lending, I'm not speaking about arbitraging the funding rates or anything of that sort, but if DeFi lending yields more than TradFi, you get access to this. And you don't need to think about rebalancing between your reserves, between TradFi or DeFi, doing tax events. This is all handled automatically and autonomously by Angle and the hood. So you get the yield, and you get a pretty nice yield and something which is highly liquid. Like you can get in, get out, whatever you want. We don't take fees when you come with USDC. And we have launched this, what we call integration program, where basically we give ownership to the protocol, of the protocol to people who use our stablecoins. It's like with Circle, you don't get the yield and you don't get equity in Circle when in dealing with this. What we're building, it's a community-owned stablecoin that's fully decentralized, and all our systems are transparently available on chain. Everyone can see how the reserves,
for example,
the administration. Everyone is aware of how asset liability management is done on our side. And so it makes sense for us to have large integrators of the stablecoin be able to give their say on how the stablecoin is managed. And for me, that's the best way to. It's also a nice distribution tool, because you give people incentives on the native yield and on the token yield on top, which it's something which we have recently launched in this program and which has worked quite well, and it's kind of powerful. Don't use this stablecoin which will you won't earn anything from it. Use this and. It will be your own stablecoin. And this sense of ownership is kind of important in what we do and what we explain to integrators.
Since we're talking about integrators and distribution, I know you quite a bit. So I know that as a team you definitely started to focus on DeFi, and now you're starting to focus maybe more on integrators in crypto. But do you think other companies, maybe payment companies, more Web2 companies or TradFi companies will use stablecoin in the near future? And how will they use it?
So I think you need to see, and it's more what we do and our objective, our meta as a company, what I always repeat to my team is our objective is to build infrastructure so finance can be done on-chain, because it's for us a more efficient standard. And everything that we try to build tools that improve the state of finance as it is today to something that is happening on-chain. And this is why we do our savings accounts 2.0, super transparent. It's better than what you can get in other banking alternatives or whatever. The people you mentioned will start using DeFi, not because of the beauty of DeFi. They will start using it if for them it's a driver of speed and efficiency, and if it can be a driver of savings. It can reduce their back office. It can improve their processes. It's the only way I mean, unless they all become speculative and try to like take their share of the value that's created, like in this like large casino that DeFi is right now. But people will start using it if rationally they can make savings using like blockchain rails over their traditional rails. So payment companies will use it if they can get faster, better prices. Banks or like savings companies will use it if they can get like everything else being equal in terms of risk, higher yields and more predictable, like a more predictable payment flow. And you can apply this to every financial vertical in the industry and try to find, okay, where can we improve the processes of these guys and what DeFi elements could help improve their life. And I think this should be the goal of any DeFi protocol, building with this in mind. And sometimes, it's hard because there is this casino culture and you may like, you need to surf the wave as a protocol because it's a nice growth element. If risk-taking is a thing and if you see that you can get some growth with risk-taking, even if it doesn't fit within your short-term vision, it would be stupid to be like, hey, no, I'm stubborn on my vision. My vision is to build the back office or whatever for banks. So sometimes you need to be agile and deal with it, what's going on in industry. But long term, you should always keep the northern light of, we don't care about it being decentralized. We don't care about, like the libertarian values. I mean, I personally care about this, but these people which will make finance on blockchains a thing, will not care about this.
That's right.
They will care about, am I saving money doing this? And it's what we should be building as a whole. And it's our global meta, I think.
Am I saving money and I'm earning money? So I guess you mentioned about the payment industry that might move to stablecoins. And in that case, it would be a 5x improvement because there's stable currency in emerging countries. There's an non-custodial wallet versus a bank that could go default at the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And you have savings. So it seems that if it goes on chain, the fees are going down. Right? A remittance company today takes, 6% fees. It could be a fraction of a penny now on L2 or Solana. So is yield going to be the next business model?
I mean, for me, the next business model and what I don't really understand with banks is that people do the difference between debit accounts and savings accounts. Mm-hmm. And what we try to build with our savings product, we try to build highly liquid savings accounts. So savings accounts which can be used as debit accounts. And if you're a payments company, like usually you want to be able to earn a yield on your idle capital, but at the same time, your idle capital, you want it to be like, you want to be able to use it so you can route payments like cross-border and do the best of it. And so like, usually it's hard to strike a good balance between liquidity and yield. Mm-hmm. In DeFi,
it's all the same thing.
I mean, no, there are like, of course, it's normal if there is a yield paid on something, it's that there must be a friction somewhere. Yep. But we can build the layers of abstraction to facilitate this to the largest extent possible. And so it applies to payment companies, but also to and we are like working with many of the like cloud providers. Who and educating them about this idea that a savings account can be a debit account. And you can have your euros or dollars which are earning till the very last second at which you are triggering the payment. Yep. Which for me is a game changer. And it applies for like individuals, it can apply for corporates regardless of what they're doing. This is done in the end at the expense of the banking system. Like because banks, their bread and butter is the fact that money that slips in their account, they make it work for you, but they don't give you the yield out of this. Yes. And if like your money is earning, it means that your bank, which was normally earning from this money, is not earning from anything. So this is for me one of the large blocker, like will this transition for into everything is earning a yield and everything is still liquid at the same time, will this fragilize like the global banks and so the economy as a whole.
But in another way, you could think of you can still apply this business model on chain, right? You can still take fees on chain. It's going to be transparent. It's not going to be opaque anymore. But there could be more liquidity because now you can bank the unbanked, and you can propagate the saving accounts to everyone, which wasn't really the case. So there's pros and cons, but you seem to say that, definitely it seems that the banks, as they are featured today, specifically in Europe, are not tailored to think that they can benefit from it.
If you look into it, and it's the case for us at Tangle, the stablecoin protocol is really close to how a bank operates. Our job is literally the same. Our job is to optimize our balance sheet, and while optimizing for liquidity and solvency constraints. You don't want your bank to go bankrupt, and you want to be able, when you withdraw from your bank, to get your funds instantly. We build the same, and the tools we had, it's not because finance is done on-chain that it is different. Like the laws of physics remains, or finance remains the laws of finance. We are subject to the same constraints. We just use different rails. And what we're defending is just what we believe is a more efficient standard to build these interactions. But we're not reinventing finance. We're reinventing the architecture on which finance is taking place. So for them, I believe once they understand that we're just talking about a standard, about APIs, about databases, it would be easy. But I guess it's a giant leap for them to do. But once they start to grasp this, they will be like, okay, yeah, maybe I can be better off building on blockchain rails, and I will still be, I will be able to be more aggressive. It will be possible for me to be more aggressive when it comes to the yield I'm offering and the liquidity I'm offering to my users. Potentially, it will reduce their profitability, but still.
So do you think they're going to be in the angle of tomorrow?
Down the line, I'm pretty pessimistic. I believe most of us will be absorbed by large banks. It's a game of trust, and we are the agents right now playing in DeFi and interacting with protocols that are really new, even if they are audited and so on. But still, and people believe in the trusted environment, and they wouldn't put all their life savings in something which is we new and which doesn't have decades of existence. So either banks will be will be under the hood using financial infrastructure like we develop, or they will develop their own. But I don't think, and I hope I'm wrong, that DeFi protocols as we know today would be the front-facing solutions that everyone starts to use. It's like, when you go on an exchange or when you go on a wallet, and many newbies, they only trust the wallet environment. When they go to a dApp, they feel that money is leaving their wallet. But if you provide them access to the same actions within the wallet, they'll be like, oh, fine, I'm still within my trust. And it's going to be the same with banks.
Okay. Yeah, we understand this technology very well as a company. Yeah, that makes sense. And maybe just to roll back on euro and dollar, because again we've seen that dollar is still predominant. Why is it important for the euro, European Union, European economical entity and central bank to be represented on blockchains? Why do you think it's important?
It's a matter of economic power. If everyone uses it's like soft power. If everyone uses your currency, then as a central bank, you have more power over the whole global economy. So your voice is more important. It's why, many countries are threatening the US of not accepting any longer the US dollar to sell oil. It's such an important tool for the US that everyone uses the dollar for global trading of commodity. And it's the same for stablecoins. The more people use your currency or derivatives based on your currency, the stronger your currency is and the stronger you are as a country or as a set of countries. And Europe, I don't think they've understood yet that, some of them may have understood, but that Euro stablecoins are not...
It's a weapon. It's not an enemy, it's a weapon.
Exactly.
And Yeah, because for example, like, people or companies or the media seems to criticize Tether, and they might think, okay, they could be an enemy to the Fed or an enemy to the American regulators, but I personally think they are their strongest ally. Yeah,
and the U.S. regulators understood this. Like, they understood that if they went against stablecoins, they would lose some pretty important buyers of like their treasuries, of their debt, and so now they need the stablecoins. And if they went against either, well, there would be 100 billion worth of like U.S. government debt that we dumped into the market. I think it would be pretty bad for the markets as a whole. And so this is why they're not going. This is also why they're not going against them, and why the environment around stablecoins in the US have changed. Because regulators understood that they needed people to buy the debt, and it's, I believe, a fair trade.
Yeah, it seems, looking at the MiCA regulation on stablecoin, so the European regulation on stablecoins, that it's essentially blocking new stablecoin to emerge, specifically in euro. Do you agree with this?
So we're on our side, we're not really concerned by the MiCA regulation, because MiCA puts an exemption on DeFi protocols like ours, which work like autonomously and so on.
Yes.
But yes, the set of rules, it's super hard to abide by all the laws, and it puts barrier to enter the market, which is bad for competition and which favors either the wealthy ones or the ones which were here before. So I love competition because I believe it's what makes up for a healthy market, and MiCA doesn't really help. For this. The other thing is that MiCA was done to favor the banking system as a whole, because it forces stablecoin issuers to keep 30% at their reserves within banks. But we know that having your money in a bank is not the safest thing you can do. Banks, there can be bank failures. We've seen it with the Silicon Valley Bank.
Yes.
And you're often better off if your counterparty is directly, the US government or European governments, rather than like a shady bank in Europe. And so MiCA is supposed to protect like stablecoin users, but potentially it is harming them by increasing the counterparty risk you are facing when you are holding a MiCA regulated stablecoin.
Right. And maybe can you deep dive on what happened with SVB and Circle, and how did you react as a protocol, because you were a bit impacted at the time?
More than a bit. So USDC, large USD stablecoin, had, I think, a lot of their reserves, close to 8 billion, within the Silicon Valley Bank, which went bankrupt. But it went bankrupt on a Friday evening. So we didn't know what would be the fair value of the USDC. In the first place, we didn't even know what proportion of the backing of the USDC was affected, and what was the risk of everything going to zero. So for the weekend, it was the weekend of the 10th of March in 2023. USDC was trading at 90 cents, between 90 cents and 95 cents. We had 70 million USDC at the time. So we had a protocol which was built around the idea that USDC would fluctuate loosely around $1. And now you have 70 million or something which is only worth, not worth $1, but 90 cents. So it's a bad thing. Our protocol didn't hard code the USDC price at $1. And so it means that people basically used us to buy USDC at 90 cents, because everyone made the bet that USDC would go back to price. And so we kind of got armed this way. It starts from a good intention. People tell you, don't hard code your oracles into fixed values. We didn't hard code, but we lost money out of it. And so automatically our system increased in fees, because it saw that it started to get its USDC reserves depleted. We lost some money out of this. But fortunately, the USDC came back to peg, and the US government announced that it would bail out the Silicon Valley Bank. Everything went fine, but it was for us a good lesson in terms of risk management, in terms of what do you do when there is a black swan. And all our systems, and we've released new systems, around our stablecoins were built using the lessons we learned from the Silicon Valley bank failures. I'm kind of, many stablecoins, they don't seem to have taken the lessons, like Maker, behind DAI, and many of them
they haven't upgraded their system.
They haven't upgraded their systems. And what happened to them was pretty bad. Like they had USDC and GUSD in the reserves, GUSD by Gemini, which was safe. And people did the trade like USDC DAI to GUSD, and all the reserves of Maker, which were like 50-50, ended up being made of 100% of USDC, which was a weak asset. Normally, when there is a black swan, what you need to do is to freeze your reserves and prevent the sequentiality mechanisms that you observe in like bank run mechanisms, like where it's like first arrived, first served, and like the first get everything, and the last ones are get nothing. These systems do not incorporate this. On our side, we try to provide more security guarantees to people holding our stablecoins. And so we developed everything with the idea that, okay, what would we have loved to see during or love to have during the USDC peg.
And is it one of the main reasons you launched your own dollar stablecoin?
It's one of the reasons. We believe our technological infrastructure is superior, but it's like not a 10x. And it's like an iterative improvement. It's going to be a 10x when a black swan happens. But as it stands in normal conditions, it's like just, I guess, a 10% improvement over the state of other USD stablecoins. And the value in a stablecoin doesn't necessarily lie in the technological infrastructure. There is value in having a stablecoin that can optimize for liquidity, for yield. What's important is the distribution and the use cases you are building around our stablecoins. What made us interested into developing these USD stablecoins was that we have this whole vision on Forex on-chain, and we believed that by having a strong euro and a strong dollar stablecoins, it would position uniquely in this Forex market. So if you put this Forex idea aside, we're like, yeah, okay, we're going to do a USD stablecoin. It's probably going to be 10% better than other ones. If we're good enough at distribution, we may grow it to an interesting place, and we're still in this growth phase and like negotiating our integrations. But the long-term vision is like Forex is necessarily going to be a thing on chain because of atomic settlement, because like faster settlement and everything we mentioned earlier on like why banks and like cross-border companies would use blockchains. But
it's because you've built these traditional rails on new rails that are working just better and faster, more efficient, and at cheaper cost.
Yeah, essentially right now we capture a large portion of the FX trades, like people swapping a euro stablecoin into a USD stablecoin into a euro stablecoin. Mm-hmm. We can do better, and we are working to do better in terms of like liquidity depth, in terms of spread with respect to real FX prices. And we're still developing this infrastructure, but for us, yes, like once, and it already works at scale, like to some levels, but it won't work for tens of millions. But once we manage to make this work at scale, then we have a killer product for all the companies doing remittances or doing like, I don't know if you've tried to send money abroad from the US to Europe without using like netting solutions like TransferWise. It takes 2 days. Like for your funds to arrive, you don't know when, at what price should be executed, and the system of like international bank transfers with correspondent banks and like SWIFT or ACH transfers, it's a nightmare. And if you are able to build the rails for on-chain payments seamlessly, and for on-chain payments, you need to have this cross-currency stuff. Because not everyone transacts in the first place from USDC or from like USD denominated assets. You need to have like a nice engine or infrastructure in the middle. And
it's super cool because it's kind of the first time. I've heard about your product before. I've heard about the Forex advantage, but it's kind of the first time I hear this big focus on remittances companies as go-to-markets and maybe other payment companies in the future. which I think it's very exciting, and I think that's exactly where you should focus on.
Yeah, but there are different ways to capture the market. Like it's not. You can position yourself if you're like, okay, on-chain forex needs to be a thing. What do we do from here? We have two stablecoins, which could and will grow bigger than what they are right now. Working on many different initiatives here.
Yes.
But what do we build to make DeFi better than what it is today? Is it do we build arbitrage systems, market making systems? Do we build a fully horizontally and vertically integrated company which can abstract away all the complexity of blockchains? Do you deal with the distribution yourself, or do you just build the infrastructure? And it's kind of the research we're conducting at the moment. We know how we can improve the execution of the swaps between our Euro to our USD stablecoin, but maybe there is a way to build a system which is more global and which would benefit more and provide more value to everyone in the long term.
So what do you think you're going to be building in 5 years?
In 5 years, for sure, we'll still be building in the open finance, open finance. I don't like the term DeFi, even though I use it a lot because it's practical. But
because it's associated to the digital world versus it's basically making finance or the financial system open.
Yeah,
right?
Or decentralized. Not everything needs to be decentralized.
That's right. It's a spectrum, whereas the biggest advantage what blockchains and open finance is bringing is basically transparency, openness, efficiency, smaller cost.
Mm-hmm.
But decentralization is always a spectrum, right?
Yeah.
And you don't have to fully optimize for
I mean, it's good if some important parts of the stack are decentralized, immutable. I mean, not necessarily decentralized, but immutable.
Which are two different things. Right?
Yes. Immutable is better because it gives everyone the clarity of, okay, these are the specifications. This is not going to change.
I can trust it.
Yeah, and it's not like building over the Twitter API. And I know that I'll spend a year. If I spend a year building on this, it will still be the same. So you need to have the immutable stack, the things that are stable, that everyone agrees on. And then you can build services which are operated in a decentralized way. It's what we do at the moment because there is value in the previsibility of the governance decision, of the allocation decisions. There is value in having the consensus, the global consensus in terms of what's most efficient for the stablecoin. But sometimes, there are other systems which would benefit also from being able to move faster, from not having to face the long discussion times we have with DAOs. In our case, DAO is kind of previsible, but there are some cases in which it's a nightmare to navigate all this. And very often it's used as a way to do regulatory arbitrage, which I don't think is the right reason for which people should do decentralized protocols. Right.
And I guess maybe very open question, where you hope DeFi is going to be in 5 years, in which hands, open finance, let's call it this way?
I hope that it will be invisible. That people will be able to use systems like banking systems, remittance companies, the same tools as they use today, but without knowing that there is a blockchain layer under the hood.
Right.
If DeFi is invisible, it's better, and that's one way to view it. Or the other way is making DeFi invisible in another way. The UX of Web2 companies were. It took some time to arrive to the consensus that the maximum you can accept from a user is that their account is their email and their password.
Yes.
We still haven't found yet in crypto what we can expect from a not so well-educated user. Maybe it's should we ask them to understand that their private key, it's the most important thing, they should then give it away? Or can we abstract more layers of this and make?
I think we can, right? What I'm very excited about these days, and that's why I think DeFi could be invisible in the hands of hundreds of millions or billions of users in the coming years. We're not talking 20 years, but we're talking 5 to 7 years maximum, is account abstraction, right? For example, where it's you have a passkey, you forgot the email, so it's better than Web2 even, and your private key is your Face ID or is your digital ID, and in 2 clicks you have a wallet. Do you think that could fix?
No. I mean, yeah, definitely. I agree, but I still don't know whether this will be enough. Whether users will still be fine accepting this, and maybe there will be other iterations on top. But this implies that the gist of like people interacting with DeFi systems will be interacting on their own using their passkeys and so on, and not with the systems we know today. I believe this is a better future to have everyone using passkeys. I don't know whether the UX will still be too complex for it to be acceptable. Hard to say, but it's not my specialty at all. And I'm glad there are many like smart teams way smarter than we are developing these systems. Because it's what we all need, and even like we accept things which we shouldn't accept when we deal with protocols and stuff. It's far too complex what people expect from users, and even if it doesn't reach the promise of being usable by billions of people, if it's still usable by 10x more people than can use the people who can use DeFi now, it will still be a good outcome, I believe.
Yes, and I agree. And I think that's what we should optimize together. What should we wish you, as a contributor of the Angle protocol and for your team? Where can we find you also on social media? Two very different questions, but yeah, where can we wish you?
So you can reach out to us on Twitter, on Discord. Angle Protocol is our Twitter. We have the link of our Discord there. Myself also on Twitter. And what you can wish us is so one, obviously growth of our stablecoins, unlocking like several key distribution deals. That's the number one thing. And the second thing is what you can wish us is what you can wish to the whole industry. It's to build products that are used out of any mercenary consideration, out of any token incentives, points, or whatever. But build to have products that are used by everyone, by people out of the industry for the practicality it brings them.
That's right. I love this. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Pablo. And I hope to see you soon for a new announcement.
Thank you, Laszlo.